Hey everyone. So if you own physical silver, you already know it's a solid asset. But what if you could do more with it than just, let it sit in a safe? Today, we're digging into a pretty wild idea, how you can take that physical silver and turn it into something dynamic, basically flipping the script from being banked to becoming the banker yourself.
So let's start with a big question. For anyone who holds a real physical asset like silver, you own it, it's in your possession, but do you really hold the power that comes with its value? Accessing that power isn't always straightforward. So what's the holdup? Well, it comes down to what's often called the silver stacker's dilemma. Your asset is what they call illiquid. I mean, you can't exactly go buy your groceries with a silver eagle, right? To actually use its value, you're pretty much forced into one of two corners. Either you sell it, or you have to go to a bank, use it as collateral, and go into debt. You're literally borrowing against something you already own. But what if there's a third option? The idea we're exploring today suggests a massive shift. It's about moving your asset's value into a brand new kind of environment. They call it a virtual jurisdiction, and the whole thing kicks off by creating a digital twin of your physical silver. Okay, so we step into this virtual world and we're greeted by an AI guide named Max Bullion Silver in something called the Jersey Gold and Silver Landowners DAO. Now, I know, it sounds a bit like something out of a video game, but it's designed to have a very real-world impact. And it all revolves around this idea of a DAO. So, what on earth is a DAO? Let's break it down real simple. A DAO is a decentralized autonomous organization. Just think of it like an online club or a co-op. There's no single CEO calling all the shots. Instead, it's run by its community members, and all the rules are transparent and locked into code on a blockchain. And this particular DAO is pretty ambitious. We're talking about a virtual world that's a one-to-one replica of Earth with its own marketplace for digital assets. The whole thing is backed by a treasury of actual physical gold, silver, and real estate. And it acts as its own self-contained digital nation. That's what they mean by a virtual jurisdiction. It's a totally self-governing digital economy. So the key that connects this whole virtual world back to the silver bar in your hand is this concept of a digital twin. It's basically a digital certificate of authenticity, a representation of your real-world asset that can live and move in this new digital space. All right, so how does this actually work? Let's get into the mechanics of it all. This isn't just magic. There's a specific process for creating or minting this digital value right from your physical silver. First, I want you to just look at this number. 31,103. Seems super specific, doesn't it? Well, it is. And believe it or not, this number is the absolute key to the entire system. So what's the deal with that number? It's actually pretty straightforward. You start with one single troy ounce of physical silver. That 1 ounce becomes the foundation to mint exactly 31,103 of these new digital tokens. You're taking one physical object and spinning it into thousands of digital units of value. These tokens are called Max Bullion Silver, and they're built on the Solana network. But here's the real kicker, the most important part. Each and every token is pegged to 1 milligram of silver. And that is why the number is so precise, because there are exactly 31,103 milligrams in 1 troy ounce. It's how the digital value stays perfectly tied to the physical world. But this is about way more than just technology and tokens. What we're really talking about is a fundamental shift in your financial mindset. It's about going from being a customer of the bank to becoming the bank. This quote really just says it all, doesn't it? Instead of taking your silver to a bank to borrow against it, the whole idea is to use its digital twin to be the one who lends. Suddenly, you're the creditor. You're not the one paying interest anymore. You're in a position to earn it. And this chart just lays out the pivot perfectly. The old way is an IOU system. You hand over your asset, you become a debtor. But this new way, it's a you owe me system. You keep your physical silver, you control its digital representation, and you become the creditor. It's a total flip. So the ultimate goal here is to get liquidity without ever giving up possession. You can lend out the digital twin, those tokens, while your physical silver never leaves your sight. It's what the source material calls a way to lever up the physical weight of what you own. This all brings us to a much bigger picture, right? What does a model like this suggest about the future of owning physical things in a world that is becoming more and more digital every single day?
So the core proposition really boils down to this. It's presented as a ready-made solution, a turnkey remedy for anyone who collects or stacks precious metals. It's a way to unlock more power from what you own and to create your own line of credit, completely outside of traditional finance and what the source calls the fiat fiction. Money that isn't backed by a hard asset.
And that really just leaves us with one last fascinating question to think about. In a world where a physical object and its digital twin exist side by side, where one gives you tangible security and the other gives you liquid value, which one holds the real value? Now that's something to chew on. Thanks for joining me.